Hey everyone, what's up? This is Wendy Pennell, realtor and broker with On Track Realty. Today, let's talk about Realtor.com's recent housing forecast. They've made some pretty big changes to their predictions, and we're going to talk about 3 of them. Now, they preface their changes by saying a moderating housing market means more options for home shoppers. Well, that is something we have definitely seen happening here in the Dallas market. All right, big change number 1 is what they predicted mortgage rates would be in 2022, okay? In their article, they said mortgage rates have been revised upward to reflect the major shift in monetary policy and financial conditions over the last 6 months. In the second half of 2022, we expect a continued climb at a more modest pace, which means that rates hit 5.5% by year end. Now, how does that compare with their original predictions at the beginning of 2022? Well, they had predicted interest rates to be 3.6% by the end of the year. And they weren't alone in that prediction either. In January of 2022, Redfin's chief economist Daryl Fairweather predicted mortgage rates will rise to 3.6%, bringing price growth down to earth. Okay, so they both missed that prediction in a big way. No one had predicted how quickly monetary policy would shift. And speaking of monetary policy, you know, there's a lot of talk about the Fed meeting and how or when they'll raise rates. But something that's really important to remember is the Fed does not control long-term interest rates, okay? Long-term interest rates are affected by many variables, okay? And the Fed is only one of them, okay? So the Fed affects interest rates, but it doesn't control them. All right, so let's talk about the second correction Realtor.com made to their housing forecast. Homes have actually gone up in value more than they expected. In January, they predicted values would go up by 2.9%. They've had to bump that value to 6.6%. Okay, so they stated home price growth has cooled, but it has remained hotter for longer than originally anticipated. And again, they weren't alone in this because, again, Redfin also predicted that annual home price growth in 2022 will plunge to 3%. Now, we're already 7 months into 2022, and at this point, home price growth hasn't slowed down nearly as much as economists had predicted. All right, third prediction that Realtor.com made was actually a pretty exciting one. Okay, they had previously predicted that home sale inventory, right, we're talking the amount of homes available, would be up by 0.3%. Okay, now listen to this. They're now predicting inventory will be up 15%. Okay, that is a huge change, and it really, really benefits the seller buyer. Okay, so let's say you have a homeowner who has ridiculously outgrown their home, and they have a lot of equity, but they've held off on listing their home for sale because they were afraid they'd end up homeless. Well, this has been a very valid concern, but that concern is going away. And Realtor.com commented on this as well. They said as more homeowners look to make adjustments to fit changing personal needs, AKA they've outgrown their home, they're able to take advantage of favorable market conditions. So what are those favorable market conditions? Well, inventory, right? The seller buyer has choices, okay? Less bidding wars, and they won't have to worry about being homeless, okay? Now, Realtor.com goes on to point out that these seller buyers have a huge cushion of equity in their homes, right? And they've had this equity all this time. It's just that now they finally have choices to go along with that home equity, right? All right, Realtor.com goes on to say, this may even lead to a reinforcing cycle as more options bring out other seller buyers, those hoping to both sell a home and buy another at the same time. So really think about that. Think about all the reasons a homeowner might want to move, okay? They've outgrown their current home. Maybe, you know, they want some acreage. Maybe they want to move to a smaller town, okay? Maybe they want to downsize into retirement living, all right? All of these homeowners have just been watching from the sidelines at these intense bidding wars, and they're like, hey, I don't have to move, so no thank you. Well, now with inventory increasing, they finally have the chance, right? And Realtor.com addressed this as well. This is what they had to say about seller buyers, okay? They said home equity insulates them from some of the impact of the changing market, particularly those who have lived in their homes for a longer period, okay? With more equity to leverage in a home purchase, seller buyers can make a larger down payment, okay? Minimizing the amount they borrow and taking some of the sting out of that higher mortgage rate. Okay, so what are we seeing in the Dallas market, okay? What are we seeing right here locally? Well, we are definitely seeing seller buyers enter the market, okay? The real winners we're seeing are those selling in the lower price ranges and then using their equity to buy in the higher price ranges, okay? The lower price ranges are still very competitive, okay? We have this incredible optimal setup of selling in a seller's market, right? If you're selling like between 300,000 and 400,000, okay, you are selling in a seller's market. And then when you buy up, you're in a buyer's market. Okay, so essentially these seller buyers, they're calling the shots on both sides of the transaction. Like, it could not be more ideal. Well, Realtor.com closed out their article with a caution to sellers. They said potential sellers need to be plugged into the latest market information and not let their expectations be too swayed by the past. In other words, don't overprice their homes. Don't reject an offer expecting something better, okay? The higher the price range, the more sellers need to realize they no longer hold all the cards, okay? All right, well, tell me, was this information helpful? If it was, the next best thing you can do is head back to my channel, check out another video. But hang on, before you do that, check the description on this video, okay? There you're gonna find a link to our Facebook group where you definitely want to head on over and join that, because there are tons of people moving to the Dallas area, and I think a bunch of them are on there, okay? You can also check us out online. Check out our website at homeindallastexas.com. And if you'd like, again, to connect with all those buyers, definitely head on to that Facebook group. There's so many people there that are just like you, thinking about moving or knowing they're moving, right? In the meantime, listen, thank you so much for joining me today, and hey, have a great day.